In this video, I want to share a drop-dead simple content marketing framework that you can use to unlock your content creation power. Let's get it going. Welcome back, guys. Greg here with Alt Agency at altagency.com, and I want to introduce a framework that I was taught that really helped me rethink how I create content, both for our clients on the delivery side in our training and coaching programs, and then on the marketing side to oftentimes these videos and any other content that I might be wanting to put out into the marketplace to help add value and educate people like you. First things first, two people to give a shout out to is one, Taki Moore, and second, Josh McKitterick. They introduced me to this model called Format, which actually was designed by a woman by the name of Bernice McCarthy, who is a school teacher from the 80s that was developed to better communicate and speak to the different ways in which people think and move them from understanding the problem all the way through to execution and tactical implementation to solve said problem. So if you are a service provider, if you're a coach or a course creator, this framework could unlock your production potential and also simplify it, because you can always follow this framework, whether it's in delivery content or marketing content. And once I go through this, if you've been watching any of our videos for any amount of time, you'll see a lot of these things happening now, so it might be a little meta. The Format model consists of 4 different frames. The first frame is the why frame. The why frame is, if you've ever bought any course and you've jumped into the course and they jump immediately into like how to do things, you might not understand why this is important. And so the why frame is majorly important both in marketing content and delivery content, because it takes your prospects from problem focused to solution focused. When you can help your clients and or your market go from thinking about the problem to the solution, what ends up happening is they feel inspired to actually do something about it. So we want to help inspire you to move you to action. How can you do that? Well, most effective content starts off with framing the problems, the frustrations, talking about, well, if you do this thing correctly, here's the things that you'll achieve, your wants, your aspirations. And by the way, here are some mistakes that people often make along the way that you're going to want to avoid. So once we have the why frame and we get our prospects inspired to do something, we go into the what frame. Now, the what frame is all about taking people from that state of feeling stuck to feeling ready or kind of open-minded that, hey, oh, now I get why this is so important. And when you see any content creator or marketer, whether they know it or not, if they're speaking to telling you stories or drawing models like this, or telling you about case studies or stats, or trying to break a belief you have, they're operating through the what frame. What's amazing about the what frame is when you do this correctly, your prospects feel safe. Specifically safe to do what you're about to tell them to do. Safe in feeling that, hey, this solution will probably work for me. Think about a course that you've bought where the instructor never taught you the why frame or the what frame, and they're like, hey, here's how to do it. And you had all the questions of like, but my situation's different, or but me, or all the, what do they call it? The but face. Like you have all of the reasons and excuses as to why this thing is not something worth trying or why it won't work for you. That's because the person teaching didn't break down the why or the what frame. So once they do that, you should feel safe. This is when we go into the how frame. And this is often where you see, hey, like there's an old way of doing things and I want to show you a new way. And when we do the how frame, there's kind of 2 levels of this. You have kind of the big picture how. So you've seen me on this channel draw like wireframes and things like that. That would be like the big picture. And then there's the procedural based steps. Like, hey, like I'm going to get in the nitty gritty. As you can imagine, the how content is very much geared towards the client delivery facing side. But when you have the how dialed in, your prospects are going to actually feel confident. Have you ever bought a program or worked with a coach? I know in our programs, like we give our clients a lot of frameworks and templates and like step-by-step things that are like 80% already built for them. Can you imagine like the confidence that you would have if like most of the heavy lifting and the thinking was already done for you? Well, that's what happens when you create a proper how frame. Lastly is the now frame, which is really going from no plan to a clear action plan. And these are like the steps, the things that you should be doing next. And what's cool about this whole cycle is when you solve one problem, often the next problem exposes itself. Your prospect prospects are going to become curious as to what happens next, which means we're constantly creating a cycle that repeats itself. Hey, you want to learn how to generate leads? I'm going to give you the lead generation framework. Oh, well, now you have all these leads, but now you need to know how to sell. Let me take you through the sales framework. Why, what, how, now. Oh, now you're closing all these clients. Let me show you how to better deliver, right? It's a cyclical thing. As you solve one problem, the next problem exposes itself. Now, the best marketing, in my opinion, is when you share just the why and the what, and you leave out the how. Some people will go as far as incorporate the how, and they just won't give you the action steps or the reminders, and you're going to basically be paying for implementation, which is honestly what most people should pay for, is implementation. There's so many things that I've given you on this channel for free, even with a lot of the how, that you probably still haven't used yet or implemented because you probably need help. The most potent marketing covers the why, the what, and often some of the best even give away the how, because the call to action is, well, if you want us to do this with you and have hand-holding support and implement this, it's one thing to know how, but it's one thing to do the how, right? And have the how implemented inside of your business. So for me, when I think about creating content for you guys, I want to make sure I'm really covering the why frame and the what frame so that you can start going from problem focused to solution focused to, hey, here's how I can get unstuck, this thing that Greg is talking about. Oh, I can even tease a little sliver of the how, and even if I did, if I'm not there to help you implement it, it's probably going to be hard. Now, some of you are super smart. Many of you are, and you can take this and probably run with it, and many have and had a lot of results. But if you're like me, at some point, you're going to need help. The best marketing content is actually part of the product, right? Your product and service can be the marketing, which when you digest that, thinking about creating content becomes a whole lot simpler. So hope you enjoyed this. If you break down your content into and using the format model by Bernice McCarthy, hands down for me is the drop dead most simple way to think about educating and adding value to both my market and to my actual clients, and to the depth in which you take it. Simply draw a line between marketing content and delivery content. So I hope this found you well. I want to hear in the comment section your biggest takeaway. And if you're not already in our free Facebook group where I drop training like this on a weekly basis as well, join our free Facebook group. That link is in the description below. We'll see you there. Until next time, have a good one.